coming from the entertainment space into now the content space, or I guess moving from entertainment into corporate is a better way to put it. We've talked about this idea of, sort of the give to get, right? Being able to have content that serves your audience before it serves your brand, hopefully to build the bridge back to the brand, right? Sometimes it's not as simple as, buying a spot. It's more indirect in the way that it approaches marketing and advertising.
Brands, whether they like it or not, and corporations, whether they like it or not, are now in the entertainment and information business. It's not traditionally what they do. They're used to merchandising and advertising. And yeah, there's been advertisements that have been funny and entertaining and great. But now you're in a different place. You're in a different ball game in which you're having to create pure entertainment and information content. And if any of that smells like an ad or smells like any kind of desperate push to look at me, buy what I've got, buy what I've got, you have to know that today's audiences are completely immune to that. Now you've got to go back to the idea of, I as a presenting brand need to give somebody something that they love. And that has to be my goal, is to create something people love and just make sure they know that I gave it to them. I've always put out the example of, there's no reason that The Big Bang Theory, which is one of the most popular sitcoms on television, couldn't be Dell's Big Bang Theory. With Dell as the presenting sponsor, the show is exactly the way it is now. It's not that they sell Dell computers all throughout the episode, but just having Dell as the presenting sponsor of your favorite sitcom, think of the glow and the positive feelings that yields back to Dell.
And Tide, right? We called them the soap operas, right? Because Tide sponsored them. And I think that they knew their audience, right? They knew that their audience was a stay-home mom when they started those soap operas. They made programming that served them, and it became an advertising vehicle in between. But nobody was washing clothes in those things. I'm surprised, though, that other brands that have a pretty clear audience haven't actually decided to own, more branded entertainment. I mean, you see a little bit of this going on, but boy, 10 years ago we were talking about this and we're still not seeing it. You don't even have to go to television anymore. This could be something that is an online web series. It can be directly at your audience, available through Facebook Live. These kinds of creative ways of getting in front of people and providing for them a piece of entertainment that maybe they couldn't have, they're not going to see any other way.
There's a couple of things that are holding brands back from going into that world full force. One being that making great content that's a hit is really hard. It's hard for NBC, ABC, Fox, 20th Century Fox. It's hard for all of them. They turn out dud after dud after dud, and then they'll get a hit. That's great, but then back to more duds. So it's not a sure thing, and it's very hard to do. So you have to find the right people and the right creatives who at least are in a good position to be able to create hit programming. And the other thing is that companies are still pretty much wired internally to have to show immediate returns. And if they don't see a return on investment of a specific thing in a fairly short period of time, it is regarded in most corporations as a failure. So there's not that hunger to invest in something and let it grow over time. The pilot for Seinfeld was a miserable failure and it was panned by critics all over the place, but it was given time. And over time, it became the greatest TV sitcom in history.